Shall we call the meeting to order?
Sounds like a great idea.
Okay, sounds good. Did everybody receive the minutes?
No,
Okay,
I did not send the minutes.
okay.
So we'll have to approve
So
the
we'll move
minutes
along.
next month. Yes.
Sounds good. Citizens petitions and comments. Any?
I didn't have anything.
Okay. Town council referrals.
Is Fran with us?
I
I don't have her
know.
on my screen.
I don't have her either.
Okay, well, let's hold on just a second and see if we can get, she said she was having trouble getting on her computer when she called me. And I've tried promoting her panelists, but oh, now we've got 5 participants. Oh, I think, wow. I think she's calling, we've got her.
So Mark, when are we gonna be
There
able
she
to
is.
go? When are we gonna be able to go to in-person meetings?
That's a great question, Dom. I don't know. It's the town manager makes the decision about this type of meetings, whether they're in person or hybrid or completely virtual. And right now, just because of the
Like the surge in Omicron, I'm sure.
yes,
Yeah.
there she is. Okay. Yeah, so until that gets to a point where he feels comfortable and he's getting counseling from, Ledge Light Health District. So I have no idea. Hopefully this doesn't continue on and on, because I'd much rather be in person.
Me too.
Personally. Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on. I just want to let you guys know I've been here the whole time.
Oh, okay.
Like since 7
She
o'clock.
said only nice
Okay.
things.
Yes.
Not able to say anything. So I went to like 2 different computers because I was like on and hearing everything from 2 devices. And I was like, they can't hear me. But finally, then the promote to panelist thing came up and now you can hear me. So that's what it was.
Super.
Yeah, that was partly my fault. Well, no, it wasn't partly. That was all my fault. I was chatting away and not looking at the number of participants and then realized that there was 4 participants.
So I'm going to back up a little bit, Francis, because I'm not sure that we heard. Did you have any citizens petitions or comments?
Mainly people like asking about what's going to happen with Parks and Rec and as far as like the COVID situation and whether or not things are going to change regarding how the programs run and if the masking policy is being enforced. But I'm assuming that the masking policy, I think it's townwide right now, correct?
It is, yes. Yep.
So in all the buildings.
Yeah.
And if that'll continue, and also people wondering if it's going to be like last time, where if we're in mid-session and the masking policy for the area changes, if it's going to stay the same for the program since people signed up under that stuff, or if it's going to be change with what changes with the town. Like, are we going to be set? Like if we say masking is happening for this session, will it continue throughout the whole session, or is it going to change if things go back to not having the masks?
Yeah, that's a great question. I suspect for the next few months, we're going to be required to wear masks until we see a significant decline in the number of cases. And we're not sure how far we're into this current session. So I don't really, it's difficult to say. I think if the mask mandate was lifted and we were no longer mandating that people wear masks in the program and we made a shift back to if you feel comfortable, then those that didn't feel comfortable would either get a credit or a refund if they didn't want to continue with the class.
Okay.
Thank you. And are the instructors being provided with, I know a lot of what's going on in the schools right now is teachers and are being provided with quality masks, N95 for their own protection, or KN95s. Is that happening for the instructors right now with Parks and Rec?
No, we're not providing masks. That's the responsibility of the instructor to do that.
So Mark, I guess I'm having a problem with, we can't meet in person. I'm hearing you say that from the perspective or from a direct order from the manager.
Mhm.
Yet we can have programming in the rec center. How does that make sense?
I'm not
Is
sure
that
that
a
I can.
question I should be asking him?
Yeah, we have not been told that, programs are suspended or programs are virtual only.
Okay.
So we're continuing to, programs are continue, as you know, Dom, I mean,
Yes, I do.
yeah, they're going on a regular basis.
Yeah. And that's why I was hoping that maybe next month we could be in person,
Sure, yeah,
But by the time we get everybody together and who's on and who's not on,
right, yeah,
it's a 7:15 before you know it.
yeah.
Okay, moving right along. Town council referrals. Nada?
There are none.
Okay, correspondence and communications. Nada. Commissioners' reports. We're flying through this tonight.
We are.
This is good.
Wait, no.
Okay, then I guess you are on, Mark. Your Director of Parks and Recreation, your reports, and here you go.
All right. So in addition to the written report that was provided, I guess the only thing that I want to add is that we had our kickoff meeting today for the mural project at the community center. And Elizabeth is the representative for the Parks and Rec Commission. We have Bruce McDermott, who is was formerly on the RTM. He's an artist. He's actually the gentleman that donated the artwork that's now out by the entrance of the library in Thrive 55 Plus.
What's his name again?
Bruce McDermott.
Bruce McDermott.
Yes. And he's an artist, and he spends 6 months in Mystic and 6 months in Florida. And I forget the name of the community, but it has there's a lot of artists and there's a lot of art that's going on down there. And so he is on that. He's on that group. And we also have a representative from the Mystic Art Museum and a gentleman from the Noank Library who has a background in art. And so it was I think it was a great first meeting. We kind of outlined all the different steps that we're planning on going through. And we're going to be meeting again February 3rd to kind of come up with some elemental design guidelines and a theme to give the artists some context within which to work. And then we'll be sending out an RFP, and there'll be a public engagement process. We haven't finalized all that, but hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have some more details and I can share those with the commission.
So Mark, was that a virtual meeting?
It was, yes.
That's got to be difficult, you know?
Yeah, we were
How many
hoping to have it, in person, right at the site. But,
Yeah,
for now, we're
right.
we're following the mandate and meeting virtually.
Okay.
It just occurred to me, Mark, would it be acceptable to meet outside the community center? Maybe not in January and February, but I'm thinking, seeing the bricks and mortar, as it were, sometimes can trigger
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah, I think when the weather gets nicer, well, I'm hopeful that when the weather gets nicer and we're kind of through this surge and the numbers drop off, that we'll be able to, all meetings will go back to in person or a hybrid or something. People have a choice.
Yeah.
But hybrids are tricky because there's still, the Zoom element that you have to deal with.
Mhm. Mark, I had one question on your report.
Yeah.
On the page with the parks listing, you have a picture of what looks like a trench, but I had no idea what it referred to.
Okay, yeah, so what the park staff will do, I don't know if they do it year, it kind of depends on the condition, but right where the edge of the infield meets the outfield, so where you go from the infield dirt to the outfield, what happens is a lip develops because that gets graded 3 times a week. So it's nice and smooth and safe for the players. But some of that topsoil ends up getting pushed into the grass right at the edge. And so it creates this lip, which becomes a trip hazard, if you're backing up to catch a ball. So what they'll do is they'll cut out a couple of feet just past the edge and level all that out and then put in new sod. So this was just a picture of where they had cleaned out and we're getting ready to place sod down so that there's a nice smooth transition from the infield to the outfield.
Thanks. I learned something every day.
All right, the golf course.
Yeah, okay. Golf course, we had another great month. Actually, this December, we were over $20,000 more than in revenue than last December, but partly because we had, we must have had a snowstorm or something, because we had 14 course closers last year and only four this year. So the golf course continues to do very well. And I did want to remind the commission that at our next meeting, it's actually a joint meeting with the Golf Advisory Board, and we will be discussing rates. So there's a Golf Advisory Board meeting earlier in next month where they will make a recommendation to the commission. And then, like I said, we'll have a joint meeting to, it's an opportunity for the commission to ask the Golf Advisory Board questions and come up with a recommendation that will be passed on to the council. So I just wanted to remind folks of that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Uh,
Trails and Coordinating Task Force.
Yeah, we haven't had a meeting since December. It meets quarterly, so we'll have a meeting coming up in the next couple of months. So no report for there. Athletic Fields Task Force, we are still waiting for the new council to review and potentially modify their current policy on properties that are vacant. Once they finalize that, we will be going to the council with a recommendation for the Claude Chester area. And once we have that decision, then the Athletic Fields Task Force will be able to finalize the request for proposals for a firm to lay out all the plans for the different fields and come up with an estimated cost of construction.
So is there any word on what is going to happen with the building?
No decision has been made yet.
Okay.
No, we're still waiting on that. Agency accreditation. So our site team visit is going to be May 16th to the 20th. Unfortunately, it's going to be virtual.
Oh, it is. I was wondering.
It is, yeah. They made that decision a few weeks ago. I was disappointed. I was looking forward to the opportunity to have the visiting team see some of the great facilities that we have, but we won't be able to do that. So what we are doing is we're working with the media team from the Groton Public Library, and we're actually going to be putting together a video highlighting some of the different facilities, and it'll probably be about 3 or 4 minutes, and it will just be an opportunity for the visiting team to see some of those things that they would not be able to see because they're not coming to visit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm curious, why don't you
Yeah.
just do a virtual tour? We've done stuff like that when we had students touring where, you basically do a Zoom and you bring a camera and you
Right.
walk around and show things like it can
Yeah.
be done. It's not the same,
Right.
but it's
Right.
real time and interactive as opposed to
Sure.
watch video,
Yeah. Well, we might be able to do both. With the media team has some great video clips already from some of the different places. I think it'd be much more exciting to see Escort Point Beach in the summer than, although they are coming in May, and by that time, the weather should be much nicer. But so that's what we're working on now. But I do like that suggestion, Fran, and perhaps what we can't capture in the video, we could do some kind of a video tour.
I had another thought based on that is if you did the initial introductory video and asked the site visit team if there are areas that they would like to see more of.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we could pick up with Fran's idea and take them on a virtual tour.
Sure. Yep. We'll put a little GoPro on top of the town car and just kind of drive around. Yeah.
Oh, better, a golf cart.
Yeah. 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 Well, there we go. We'll go with a golf cart. So that's kind of our plan right now. That's what we're working towards. And the staff, what we did is we kind of split up all of the standards. So all the standards that I had done and the evidence of compliance, I split that up between a couple of the division supervisors, and they're reviewing all my work. And so we've kind of rotated everybody's work. So we're fact checking and checking everybody's work. And that's been great because there was some things that, I missed that other people caught and said, hey, we need to do this, and things that needed to be updated. So we're going through that process now. So we're making an even stronger application.
So March 7th looks like a reasonable date
Yes.
for submission.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
All right. Hey, Mark, I just wanted to mention one thing about the trails. Over on Thomas Road, you have the conservation area.
Yes.
And I was over there about 3 weeks ago, and I saw a guy with a backfill with a backhoe.
Yeah, we
And-
were trying to smooth the parking lot out because it's
Actually, he was doing something with a pipe, and
okay.
that at that time, and I
Yeah.
had mentioned it to him about you might want to backgrade this area, and sure enough, that same day he took his backhoe. He needs a bigger machine than a backhoe, but he at least backgraded the driveway coming in, so it's a lot better. And he was
good.
one of you. Yeah, he was one of your guys, which was terrific. So
Great.
yeah,
And actually, we, as you know, the old sign fell down, and we just got notice yesterday that the new sign is available to be picked up. So we're going to be replacing that sign, and Elizabeth, I remember you said if we could pull it out closer to the road, so we're going to try to do
Please,
that.
yeah.
So, yep.
Good.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's a wonderful area, Elizabeth. I don't know
It is.
if you're into birding, but
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of hooded mergansers there, and several other species that occupy those two estuaries. So it's a pretty nice place. Anyway,
It is.
unfinished
what was the name?
business.
Dom, what was the name of that location you were just saying? And where should I put this in the notes? It doesn't really fall under agency accreditation.
It should go under Trails Coordinating Task Force.
Oh, okay. And what's the name of the place that you were just describing?
It's just named, I think it's just called a conservation area.
It's Sparkle Lake
Sparkle Lake.
Conservation. Yeah, Sparkle Lake Conservation Area. It's off of
there-
Thomas Road.
Yeah.
Just before you get into the city, right at Birch Plain Creek.
Thank you.
Okay, unfinished business. Draft letter of support for smoking and vaping restrictions.
So
I read it.
Elizabeth,
I thought it looks good.
Anybody like to make a motion to accept the letter?
I wanted to point out one thing that I put as a subject, substance use, not abuse. And I did that deliberately because smoking and the consumption of alcohol by adults is legal and is not necessarily abuse. So I think we have to, because people will raise, an eyebrow or two if we call it abuse. We're really talking about any substance use of alcohol and tobacco, vaping, marijuana.
That's a major point, Elizabeth. Good, really good point. Definitely, I support, changing that. That's for sure.
yeah, I think a motion would be appropriate at this point.
But it is
I'd like-
written. It is written as substance use, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. We don't have to
I
change
don't-
anything.
I don't have to change it. I just wanted to emphasize that that was a deliberate choice.
That's what I thought.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept it. Sorry.
And I'll second the motion to accept the letter of support for smoking and vaping restrictions. Any concerns? Well, so moved. Any hands for it? I don't know. How do you say that, Elizabeth? What do I say?
All
Those in favor. Those in favor. There we go. Those in favor?
Hi.
Aye. All right, so moved.
Elizabeth, did you send me this as a PDF or is it a Word doc?
A Word doc.
Oh, it is. Okay, so I could take draft off.
You should be able
and-
to take it off. If you can't, let me know and
Okay.
I'll clean that up and send it to you.
Okay, all right.
But
So I'll forward this on to the town manager who will distribute it in an upcoming packet to the council, and we'll see, hopefully they'll take action on this.
Good.
Right, yeah.
Okay, new business, draft inclusion statement and the review thereof.
So I sent this out. We had our original inclusion statement and our new inclusion statement. And I think as mentioned in the document that went out, we tried to utilize the equity language guide that came out from the NRPA. So I don't know if there's any, the previous inclusion statement had a stronger focus on folks with special needs. And so the new inclusion statement, we're trying to be a little more broad-minded and looking beyond just those with special needs and identifying all folks.
Yeah, I thought it did. I think you did it with it. And the other thing is looking through the NRPA material, they had a very interesting statement at the end about do something and you may need to do more as times change.
Right.
But, I think this covers it for where we are today.
Okay. Great. So could I ask the commission to make a motion and to accept this?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the inclusion statement.
Like
All
a
those in
second
favor?
motion?
Okay.
I'll
All those
second
in
it.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so moved. A draft of the annual budget, Mark?
Well, this is the annual report.
Yeah.
So we started doing an annual report. I think this is our third or fourth one. So I just wanted to share a draft with you all to see if there was any, if you caught anything that you thought ought to be changed. At one time, we were printing these. We've stopped printing them because, oh, there's the cat.
Yep. Now we have a quorum.
Yes. We had I don't think we printed them last year, and we won't this year just because of finances. And so we do make it available on our website.
Mhm. The one, I thought it looked good and I liked the format. I think it's a nice format. I did have one question and it had to do with the Sassagas.
Yes.
The Sassagas recreation area. I thought
Yep.
that was a conservation area, Mark.
It is.
It's in the lower right-hand corner of the second page.
All right, wait a minute.
Unfortunately, the cat's lying on my copy at the moment. Excuse me, Mandy. The one with the hand.
Oh, yeah, yep,
Yeah, it's
Okay.
that section.
yep. Yeah, good catch. Thank you.
And I don't know if you needed the word land after you say Sassagas Conservation Area.
No, we don't.
Okay.
Okay.
And I like how you restate the pillars. I think that's really neat.
Yeah, we've, the first time we did this, we had a graphic designer do the whole layout for us. And she sent us the file. And so we use the same layout every year. And we change the pictures and update some of our, we update the information that appears on it.
Mhm.
So if you look back at the last few years, you'll see the layout is always the same.
Nice.
Any other new business for any of the commissioners? Although I do have one thing I'd like to bring up, Mark, and that is, I'm curious as to where we are with the resurfacing of the courts at the community center.
Yep. We're hoping to get ARPA money, the American Recovery, I forget.
Assistance.
Yeah. That project is one of a number of projects on the list. And if we get enough money, that will be resurfaced.
Okay, I was just curious because now we're up and running again, and we're
Yep.
bringing in some good funds.
Yeah.
I was just wondering where that would be, so.
Right. Yeah. Well, we, every time we went out to bid, the price kept going up and up, and we
Right.
just didn't have the money to do it. I mean, it's almost doubled from what it was when we first budgeted the money. So again, we're hoping that the ARPA funds come through. There's a lot of people that are asking for money, and it's going to be split up, and it still has to go through. There's a long-term recovery committee. The council is going to review it. The RTM is going to review it. So there's a whole bunch of different steps, and I have no sense of a timeline as to when all of that's going to take place, and when the money would become available for that.
Okay, I was just curious because, as we bring in, I don't know, anywhere from $350 to $500 a week,
Yeah.
It's sad that is going into a general budget, whereas, had we been putting that in a specific account or line item, we probably would be able to pay for it within the rec department.
Right. Yep.
So how do we get that money into a specific line item to do such that?
Yeah, I will look into that. It may not be my decision. It may be a decision by the finance department, but I'll see what
Okay.
I'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
Yep.
Our
I have
next
one more
meeting.
thing. Ooh, I had one thing I wanted to bring up. Sorry, my hand was up on the little thing. I
Oh,
tried.
you know what? It just came up.
So something that we've noticed when we walk around, I walk around the neighborhood of Deerfield Ridge and Heather Glen and all that stuff. And there's been a fitness kind of stations around the neighborhood. And I don't know if they're being maintained anymore. And I wanted to ask about that because my concern is if the wood's starting to rot or things like that, someone might get hurt if they try using it. So I wanted to know if there's anything going into maintaining it or checking just to make sure that those structures that are part of the fitness trail are still safe. Because it looks like some of the wood might be degrading and I'm concerned people might get
Okay.
hurt to try it.
All right. Well, I know, the park staff mows around most of those structures. So I'll check to make sure that they are checking it. And if they're not, then this would be a good time of year to go out there and make an assessment of either it's beyond repair or, let's get some wood and replace the parts that are broken so that, Fran, do you see anybody using them? Or, because I don't know that I've
Occasionally, not
ever
frequently.
seen anybody. Yeah.
I
It-
think the kids like sometimes kids use some of the things like there are bars at one of the places where people
Yeah.
can do chin-ups and stuff. And I think kids have used that. I've seen people kind of walking like standing and walking on some of the things. I don't know if they're being used as intended with
Okay.
the instructions that are there and everything.
Right.
But people do I've seen people standing on them and stuff like that. And that made me think,
Sure.
are they
Right.
even-
Yeah. Okay.
Fran, where is that located?
There are stations all around that neighborhood behind the Haley Brook Market, Deerfield Ridge, and Heather Glen, Hunting
Okay.
Ridge, Fox Run.
Thank you.
It's mostly in the public spaces that are around that. Well, of
Right.
course, it's all in the public spaces that are around that area. So
That's it.
a lot of people have been using the Frisbee golf, by the way. We see a lot of cars parked there, especially on weekends. So
Yeah, every time we go out there to do some work, there's people out there playing. And we're getting a lot of positive feedback on that. And right now we're working on signage and working with a group of volunteers from Pfizer to go out and set the posts where at each tee box, there's going to be a post with a sign that will tell the golfer how far it is to the basket and the general direction and also the change in elevation. So there'll be signs unique to each tee box. And then as you're going in, there's the kiosks, and we'll have a map of an overview of the layout of the entire course, along with some rules and regulations. And that should be ready for this spring.
And where's the course, Mark?
The course is off of Heather Glen. There is a basketball court that we resurfaced a couple of years ago, or maybe last year. And yeah, there's a park there. There's parking for 8 to 10 cars, maybe.
Oh, nice.
And yes, and there's a couple of pieces of playground equipment and a swing. And off of the corner of the basketball court, there's a trail that goes into the woods, and the entire course is, well, with the exception of the 18th hole, which is out in an open space, but everything else is in the woods.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And do you leave discs there, or participants bring their own discs?
Yeah, participants bring their own disc, and the guys that are really into it, they have a satchel that they carry on their back, and they probably have 15 to 20 different Frisbees. And you know, they'll get to a location and they'll amongst themselves, like, well, which one are you going to use? Well, I'm going to use this one. Oh, that's a great idea. I think I'll pull mine out too. And they pull it out, and there's actually I think on the town Facebook page, we posted a video that a couple of guys had taken when they were playing, and these guys were amazing. They were throwing it the entire length of the course, and then, you know, just and the basket is off to the right, and just, you know, after they've thrown it 100 yards straight, the thing starts to turn right towards the basket. I mean, these guys, they were amazing, and it was really fun to watch. And we've been in touch with Facebook. Someone started the Millwood Creek Disc Golf Facebook page almost 10 years ago, and there's been very little activity on it. So we've reached out to Facebook to try to, I don't know what the right term is, I want to say take over, be responsible for the web page. And so we're waiting to hear back from Facebook, and so we'll be using that as a way to promote out the disc golf course in the coming months.
Wow. Well, thank you. Well, I guess we're to the point of our next meeting,
Yes.
unless there's something else.
There's one other thing, Tom.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to check with Mark. Do you have any use for a pool table for the community center?
Is it like a commercial grade? Or
I
pretty
believe
rugged?
so. I believe so.
Okay,
Full size.
okay. And it's in good shape?
Well, that I'd have to determine. I was just approached by somebody.
Okay,
It has belonged to a church group who no longer uses it.
okay.
So I don't know the condition, but I assume you or someone from your staff would take a look at it and determine whether or not it was
Yeah,
suitable.
Sure, let me check.
Okay.
To see if there's a need, and then if there is, we could set up something with the church to go over and do to check it out. I mean, the last thing we want is to be taking somebody else's problem.
Throw away. Oh,
Throw away,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
We
why.
get a lot of that, yeah,
Yeah, I bet you do.
yeah.
And I was curious, Mark, this is separate and maybe it should have come at a different time, but what's enrollment like in the programs right now? Is it compared to like previous years and compared to last year during COVID? Is it the same as it was last year, or is it down or up? How's it compare?
To previous years, prior to 2020, it's down. It's down. I'd have to go and look, class by class to see the difference. I think, we saw things were looking more positive when there wasn't the mask mandate. Back in, now there's been so many, we've gone through so many cycles that I lose track, but when people didn't have to wear masks anymore, we saw an uptick in registration. And, now that we're back to the mask mandate, there's some people that just don't want to, I've seen it at the Thrive 55. The number of people taking exercise classes is not, I mean, we used to have a class full with 42 people. We'd fill the entire space. And I'd say, and Elizabeth's there fairly regularly, it may be half of that in some cases, right? Yeah.
Well, in part because they want to leave enough space between the participants.
Right.
That's the other thing that keeps the exercise class size down.
Right. Yeah, that's the other challenge is, right. So it's kind of class by class, but I think if I was to make a general statement, it would be that registration continues to lag behind prior to COVID. And one of my concerns, and I had this discussion with the staff yesterday, is that, and I hope I'm wrong, but we may find that if and when we finally get through the cycle, that people's habits have changed after 2.5, 3 years of not, for example, 2.5, 3 years of not taking karate. They may say, I haven't done it in 3 years, and I'm doing other things now. And so I hope that's not the case, and we'll just have to wait and see. But that certainly could be the case, that people have drifted away, and it's been so long that it just isn't part of their regular family routine anymore. I don't know.
Well,
Thank you.
I hope not.
Curious. I'm a data person, and I was curious about that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it appears our next meeting is February 10th.
That is correct.
Is that correct? Okay, I just want to let you know I won't be there.
Ooh.
I will be in Florida at that time, and I'll be back for the March meeting. I just want to let you know that.
Okay. Is there any way you could do it virtually?
I could, if we were gonna. Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, because that meeting is with the golf
With the
advisory
golf.
board. Yeah,
Okay.
and we're supposed to make a recommendation that goes to the council. And I don't think we're going to have a fourth person. The gentleman that attended the October meeting is expressed interest after listening into the meeting and wants to join. But the process takes a while. I don't know when he'll be on board. So Dom, if you could.
I will do it virtually.
Okay, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So that's our next meeting, and I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second the motion?
You got it. And take care of that cat, will you?
He takes care of me.
So Dom, are you gonna go out and split a piece of wood now? Just to try it out?
I have the spotlights out, Mark, yeah.
Well, I want a video of that,
I
dog.
got a miner's hat and the whole thing.
Okay, video at 12. Keep well, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.